how you go from hurt to hurt, from moving along in the relationship when you feel wounded or you feel like you've wounded your partner or some other loved one or friend, is the key to maintaining a good, healthy relationship, which includes hurt and pain and anxiety and all the other things, because everybody's human. So today I'm going to tell you a story about 3 members of a family who were struggling with this for years and years and years, and each time one of them felt hurt, the relationship would crack, and then somebody else would try to mend it, and it was never mendable, and so on. So the family were in complete disarray. And here's the story. The mom in the family was a silent person. She didn't show her sadness, she didn't show her hurt, she didn't show her pain. But what she did do was become silent and withdrawn. She wouldn't speak to her husband, and she wouldn't speak to her child, who was a grown-up, by the way, but they were a very close family. She would hold all her sadness and bitterness in and exert her power in a very different way. She would start to make them feel guilty about what they just said. So by withdrawing, by feeling like she's hurt and wounded and they need to come and take care of her, and then she would actually start physically getting sick because all the stuff that she held in, all the stress, all the hurt, all the bitterness and all the pain, elevated her stress hormones because it was too much to hold, and she literally became sick. And then her husband and her grown-up child would feel terribly guilty, would want to take it all back and take care of her. And this mom actually enjoyed it. She liked that kind of caretaking because it was physical. She didn't have to share her feelings. She could just let her body speak for herself and get taken care of. Now let's look at what was happening to the dad, her husband, while the mom was being silent and withdrawn and evoking guilt in order to get care. The dad initially was overwrought with guilt and was only too happy to make sure his wife was okay. He was calling, tending to her, putting her first and all that. But inside, his stress levels were elevating too on several counts. Damn, I wish I'd never said that. I should have kept my mouth shut. What's the use of talking? This is what happens. I end up having to be her slave, and I don't like this anymore. And then it would go to an even more destructive place of, I'm angry that she won't let me have my feelings. I'm angry that she makes me feel guilty just for speaking my truth. I'm angry that she's always being the one who's wounded and hard done by and making me feel guilty, and then I have to go take care of her. Next time, I'm going to be the one who's the wounded one, and she's going to have to take care of me. So now let's move to the adult child, a daughter. She was also feeling like if she dared to speak the truth in front of her mom, that her mom didn't really understand her, or sometimes found it hard to listen, or kept changing her mind, or agreed to give her something in one situation and then took it back in another, the mother would get very, very, very wounded and shamed and feeling bad about herself. So again, she'd withdraw, make her daughter feel guilty, make her daughter feel like, oh my God, what is the point of me saying anything? She really doesn't want to hear me. She's not interested in me, but I don't want to have a bad relationship. She's my mom. She's important to me. So I'll go and apologize and try to keep my mouth shut in the future. And I'll try to take care of her, and hopefully she'll forgive me. And hopefully one day we can kind of get back on track again. Now, the daughter obviously then went, after all these what's the point feelings, also went to a place of anger and bitterness. Why can't I speak my mind? Why can't she hear me? Why do I always have to be the one that has to be quiet? Why do I have to be the one to always feel sorry for her and take care of her? Why can't she ever see that I'm feeling as bad as she is? I guess I must be a bad daughter. So I'll go take care of her, but inside she's raging and angry and upset. And then she says, okay, I'll show her one day I'll get sick too, and then she's going to have to take care of me, and see how she likes it. So you can see the dynamic in this family. They all feel hurt and wounded, but they don't speak about their hurt and their wounds. They just all get angry and show it in different ways. The mom would get angry, but do it in a silent way, evoke guilt and get care, and then get very angry when they stopped caring for her. So the cycle continues. The daughter would get very, very angry, and when she couldn't hold her anger in anymore, having gone through the guilt cycle, the caretaking cycle, the exhaustion cycle, then she would blow up, and then the mother would feel, here we go again, nobody's taking care of anyone else, and I have to do it, and so on. The father would also, in his anger, get very, very upset and rageful that he had to keep having this cycle and nobody was tuning into him, and he was always having to eat humble pie and take care of everybody else. And he would be really, really angry, and he would literally leave the house and stop talking to his wife and daughter. He would go out to the gym, he'd go out and play soccer, he'd go out and play pool, all sorts of things, stay late at the office, but he also would withdraw. So here you can see a family who are all feeling hurt and wounded in exactly the same way. There's some guilt and shame around things, but they refuse to express it. They are all acting out, hoping to impact the other person, but it never happens. So what are we going to do in this family? Here's what I suggested to them. First, I start with the mother, because she's the one who initially feels wounded by her husband speaking their truth and her daughter speaking her truth. So what I suggested to the mom was, if you feel like you have a feeling, you have an opinion, you have a comment to make, do it at the time you feel it. Don't hold it in. Don't be a martyr. Don't start feeling that you have to evoke the guilt and then they come caring for you, because you're actually going to get sick. And that means you're going to burden your child and your husband. And when you do that, they're going to get angry, and they'll take care of you in an angry, guilty way rather than a really caring way. So speak in the moment, and remember that they're going to have feelings about what you say, just like you have feelings about what they say and do. And just be curious about it. What I suggested to the dad was that he continue to speak his truth, but keep checking in with his wife about how she's hearing it and what she makes of it, so that any repairs that need to be done, any misunderstanding, any difference in perception gets fixed in the moment it happens. It's like taking care of a scrape on the knee before it gets infected and there's pus and then there's maybe gangrene and maybe an amputation. Because that's what the mother was doing before. She was amputating the family away from her, and they had to come take care of her amputation because it hurt, it was sore, and it was bleeding. Here's what I told the adult daughter. Continue to speak your truth. Check in with your mom about how she's feeling, but be certain to tell her the impact she has on you when she goes silent, or she doesn't hear you, or she doesn't appear to get what you're saying. Express your hurt. That gives her permission to express her hurt. So all members of the family have to speak their truth, whether it's hurtful or not, whether you're feeling the hurt or not, in the moment, so that you can bandage and repair the relationship instead of keeping on making amputees out of everybody and breaking and snapping and breaking and snapping, because then there'll be nothing. There will be no limbs of connection between you as a family. The roots of the tree, that is the family, will rot away and break, because how many limbs and branches can you keep cutting off? You can't stick them back on again. So speak your truth, but check in with each other and be prepared for the fact that what you say and do is going to have an impact. It doesn't mean that you did something wrong. It means you can be curious about the impact and have a meaningful dialogue that allows you to repair it in the moment and keep that healthy root of the family tree intact, thriving and surviving the storms of hurt and misunderstanding. And what I'd like you to do now is tell me any situations in which you felt hurt as a family and what you've noticed about your family. Do they play these games of punishing and amputating and evoking guilt? Or do they just not speak to each other forever? Do they ostracize each other? Do they start blaming each other? Do they have violent fights? What works in your family and what doesn't? How have you managed these situations? And please let me know how you found this video. Was it helpful? Did it resonate with you? Did it leave out something that was really important to you? Please let me know, and I will do my best to give you more of what you need and target it to your specific needs when you share what's going on with me or you.